What you're looking at is my performance in 2022 versus the major four indexes. The S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Nasdaq 100, the Russell 2000. I beat two of these indexes and then lost to two of them, and one of them I was almost dead even with, which is the one that I find most important, the S&P 500. We're going to talk in this video how I was able to do so, and this is my returns when you look directly off of the brokerage itself. You can see that 18% year to date is where we're at, and we finished out with a horrible month in December, which is what made me fall so far behind because I was beating the market by a lot until the very tail end. The month of December was horrible for me, so I finished out with 18.43. The Nasdaq finished out with negative 32.54. The S&P finished out negative 18.11. The Dow negative 6.86, and the Russell 2000 negative 20.44. And then here this is on a bar chart, so you can see this mapped out compared side by side. So overall in 2022, I'm not excited with my performance, but I'm not exactly pessimistic either. And if you want to see how I did and how my performance actually shapes up, and if you want to see how I did in terms of actual booked profits or losses throughout 2022, we finished out with a gain. So we're going to show in this video every single one of the trades that I made. We're not going to go line by line, but we're going to show every single thing I disclosed and give some of the major bullet points of what made this year successful or not successful and how I plan to relate this moving into 2023. I always show my holdings, always show my balance. As of the time of filming right now, I currently sit at $37,938, and we're going to take this money, hopefully, to well over $50,000 in 2023. But before we get into all that, we have to talk about today's sponsor, MooMoo. MooMoo is a new up-and-coming brokerage that is taking the world by storm. Commission-free trading, level 2 data, advanced technical indicators, earnings calendars to see the date of financial statement releases, and institutional tracking to follow Warren Buffett's portfolio are just a few examples of what MooMoo has to offer. With this being my first sponsor in the channel, I have fully vetted their company and stand behind their vision. MooMoo currently trades on the Nasdaq under ticker symbol FUTU for FUTU and is SIPC insured. If you sign up below using my special referral link, you can get anywhere from 1, 10, or even as high as 20 stocks for signing up when you use my special referral link down below in the description or in the pinned comment down below. Free stock amounts can be as high as $1,000, so sign up now using the link in the description or pinned comment down below. You would help support me and my channel by doing so and give yourself an edge in the world of investing. Thank you so much, MooMoo, for sponsoring this video. Now back to the content. Okay, so for starters, let's look at my holdings where I'm currently at right now. And this is where I sit as of the time of me filming. And right now we have 29.1% in Salesforce, we have 27.6% in Amazon, 23.8% in Crocs, and 19.5% in Google. Now I think that all four of these are going to be solid. I definitely expect to be selling out of Crocs in 2023, and I might hold on to Google, I might hold off. It depends on where I see other opportunities at and what price Google goes to. But these two larger ones, the bigger chunks of the pie, Amazon and Salesforce, I intend to hold throughout 2023. And something I want to mention really quick before we show the full chart, because there's a lot of different trades on here. The first thing I want to focus on mainly is talking about the actual stocks, because a lot in here are options plays, because I deal a lot with options. Now I filtered out to where I only can see the stocks here, and you see Nikola, AMC, Crocs, PP, TQQQ, SQQQ, iRobot, CleanSpark, Corsair, and Chewy. My investing strategy, those of you that have been watching me for a year plus know that things have changed a lot. And I've had to shift my portfolio around to adjust with the incoming recession, but also just my investing principles and my investing beliefs in general. And you can see, throughout investing in actual stocks, it was much further in the red than it was the green. Now, some of these were shorts. So, for example, like some of the winners like AMC and Nikola were shorting, for example. And then most of these were buying actual equity. And the big losses you can see are Corsair and Chewy stock. These were companies that I bought with the belief that they were going to be going higher, that they were going to reach valuations that were significantly better than what I was buying them at. And I was flat out wrong. I was not even close to being right. And the funny thing is for all of these is that if I actually held, my losses would be significantly worse for both of them. So this is one of those situations where I look at what I did, I look at where I'm at, and I see how I've changed. I think I'm now invested in much more reliable, long-term compounding businesses. And when I look at the four on the list, you can see that really out of the holdings, there's only one here that's not super defensive, which is Crocs. Crocs is more as a unique, low profile, more of a sleeping giant, I would say. It's not a multi-trillion-dollar market cap, high growth tech business like Amazon or Salesforce or Google. Most of these are hundreds of millions or even trillions of dollars in market cap, and they have so much money and power that it's hard to even fathom sometimes. And so I've shifted more towards companies that have bigger moats and more of a dominant position, more of an ideal success rate. And Crocs is really the only riskier position I have, which actually tends to be my best performer throughout the year. We're currently up around 40% or so on Crocs. I'm actually curious to see what Crocs sits at today. Well, I know it finished in the red, I think, a little bit. So yeah, let's see, 106.81 divided by 76. Yeah, we're currently up 40.5% on Crocs as of today with just a few months of holding it. However, on many of these other positions, all three of them, in fact, we're actually down on. We're down on Google, down on Amazon, down on Salesforce, and hopefully we get that turned around. Now, I want to scroll down to the bottom here, and I want to show every single trade throughout 2023. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on auto scroll, and let's get this going right about that speed. Now, what I'm doing is I'm sorting in order from worst to best trade. And what I want you to do, if you need to pause the video along the way, you can. But what I want you to do is really sit and focus on each and every position and look at how many different trades I made throughout the year. Now, typically this year is a lot higher amount of volume of trades than what I would normally make. But most of this, you have to be aware, is from selling puts and from selling calls. This is not from actually buying positions. Many of these are actually selling positions, especially many of the Google, Salesforce, Amazon, Crocs. Many of these positions were actually me selling options. And so here's the cool part. When I filtered out just my winners and only my losers, when you look at the actual stocks, you can see that it was pretty detrimental in 2022. But now as we get off of the losers and now we get to the winners throughout 2022, this also includes my options plays. And the good news is, with 2022, with everything going down, my options plays consistently made money. And I mean almost all of them. I would say my win rate was somewhere around 90% if I had to guess. And while some of these wins may be small, some of them may be $30, $40, $50 a pop, notice how we're getting bigger and bigger as we go along. Right now we're at about the $60 range, and you're about to start seeing this increase big time to the hundreds and even thousands of dollars. And the cool part about these options is that when you're consistent and you're consistently generating revenue, is that it makes your portfolio gains start to stack up and your performance a lot better. So generally a performance like mine, when you have a portfolio that has very concentrated positions and very risky high-tech growth plays, many of the stocks I own have gone down much more and significantly faster than that in the market of the S&P 500. However, my performance was almost identical because I had these offsetting my losses, consistently bringing in hundreds of dollars. You can see now we're around the $500 per trade mark, and we're about to get to the very end with my best performing trade of the year, which was Tesla. Tesla, throughout the year, made me $3,060 betting on put options. That was actually one of the only buy options we had throughout the year, as well as a couple other plays. And the funny thing is that much like last year, some of my biggest winners were actually going against the market. Of my top 5 plays, 3 of them were actually betting against stocks, betting that they would go down. So the key is making money when markets go up and down. I was actually managed to actually book a profit in 2022, despite all of these losing stocks, which were several. Let's see that. That's about $10,000 in the red. We made so much money through options plays that we actually finished in the green. So the bad news is I'm going to be paying some taxes, and the good news is my portfolio saved a lot of losses by betting on plays like these. Now, don't get me wrong. Let's scroll back down to the bottom here. You can see that had a lot of big losses, but when we scrolled through, you can see while I did have a couple of losses right here, if I do it on kind of a faster basis, you can see what I'm talking about. There were a decent amount of losses, and the losses stopped right about here. But once it turned, you can see that the gains in the greens position pretty much go all day. Look, we're still going. Once we get to about 100, 200, 300, 500, and even a few that were 1,000 per trade. And so that makes the difference throughout the year 2022, and we'll see how I do throughout this on 2023. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you watching me another year, and I'll catch you guys next time.